Hey there, everybody out there in social media land. Gary Glass here once again. We're still reading Napoleon Hill's The 12 Miracles of Life, and we're all the way up to the eighth chapter. Oh my gosh, we're down to the last, I don't know, 50, 60 pages. Oh, maybe even less than that. A little better than 40. So, anyway, we're up to the eighth chapter, which is, of course, the eighth miracle of life. And its subtitle is Definiteness of Purpose and the Fixation of Natural Laws. So, essentially, talking about, I don't know, uh, a metaphysical version of physics, if you will. So, let's dive in. We're starting in on page 109. And here's what Hill's written. The fixation of natural laws is a miracle which forever safeguards all of nature's plans and purposes and ensures that the overall plan of the universe will be carried out without the possibility of the interference of man. The law of cosmic habit force is the comptroller of all other natural laws and the power which gives fixation to all habits of every living thing in the lower orders of life than that of men, and fixes the habits of energy and matter, as well as the distances and relationships between all of the stars and all of the planets. Man alone has been provided with the privilege and the means by which he may fix his own habits, good or bad. And I'd suggest that's through the power of our own willpower. The habits of all living things on a lower plane of life have been fixed but by what we call instinct. And the instinct pattern of each living thing on this lower plane represents the limitations and full extent of its activities. Man's privilege to make and to break his own habits has been so definitely left in his own hands that he is not bound by any form of inherited limitations, such as are all lower forms of life. That great universal truth, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, is given sound foundation because of man's power to break all habits which have been fastened upon him by the law of cosmic habit force and supplement them with other habits of his own choosing. Once a man chooses a goal and creates plans for attaining it, cosmic habit force will fix all his habits which are related to that goal so that they automatically lead him in the direction of the goal. However, man can break those habits at will, change his plans and objectives, and set up an entirely new set of habits for the attainment of his objectives. The power of choice in the selection and control of habits give man a rating but one step below that of infinite intelligence, and in fact gives him the privilege of drawing upon the forces of infinite intelligence at will for the attainment of all his aims and purposes. For evidence to support this observation, one has only to take inventory of man's achievements during the first half of the 20th century, during which man caused to be revealed more of nature's carefully hidden secrets than had been uncovered during the entire previous existence of mankind. This would be, once man had the ability to use electronics and be able to see things and build detectors that man just couldn't see that those sorts of forces going on in the world until those detectors were built. So Hill continues, step by step, the exercise of his self-established habits of thought, man has ushered in the push-button age, which permits him, figuratively speaking, to supply his every need by calmly sitting down and pushing buttons which set up vibrations in whatever direction he may desire. Perhaps this evolutionary advancement of man, through which he has transferred to machines most of the labors he previously performed by land, is only a part of nature's plan of introducing man to his own mind power by the process of elimination. When there is no longer any need for the use of physical power, man will then have time to discover and use his brain power. And in that discovery, he may learn that he can do all the things which the Nazarene challenged him to do, even greater things than I have done. The stars and planets and the nebulous manner from which these were formed are related to one another by nature's habits of fixation, operating through the law of cosmic habit force. Day and night, the seasons of the year, the law of balance, and every living thing except man are bound by inexorable habits which make their movements and actions accurately predictable over long periods of time and far in advance of the happenings. Man alone has been given the privilege of fixing his own earthly destiny, with the right to make it pleasant and unpleasant, successful or unsuccessful, happy or unhappy, rich or poor, and his achievements are always unpredictable because his potential power is unlimited. If man had but two more privileges than he now possesses, he would be on an equal footing with the Creator. Namely, one, the privilege of coming into the world at birth of his own choice, which of course that doesn't happen. And two, the privilege of remaining among the living as long as he desired, which again, of course, does not happen. Man has potential control of about everything else, but alas, he rarely discovers the powers available to him or makes any attempt to use those powers for his own uplift or to make this a better world. Oh my gosh, so true. And at the same time, so sad. You know what? Let's keep going. We can kill this chapter today. For the most part, man settles down in sort of a tug of war struggle with forces which become unfriendly toward him because he does not understand them. Forces such as the 12 miracles, and he gladly settles with life for a place to sleep, a little food to fill his belly, and enough clothes to hide his nakedness. I guess it should have had an E there, to hide his nakedness. Anyway, once in a long while, an individual steps out of the long procession of human beings, takes possession of his own mind, recognizes its powers, and makes use of them. Then the world has found an Edison, or a Ford, or a Luther Burbank, or an Alexander Graham Bell, or a Henry J. Kaiser, men who have removed all self-imposed limitations because they learned the truth that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. Geniuses? Yes, because genius is simply a matter of self-discovery. Know yourself, your other self, which does not recognize limitations, and you may become the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. And peace of mind will come to you as naturally as the eating of a meal when you are hungry. Man's major weakness consists not of riches he does not possess, but in the failure to make use of that which he already has. In every generation of people, less than 1% of those who are living take over the torchlight of civilization and carry it over for the benefit of the next great civilization. Civilization is kept on the march by those who discover and make use of their own minds. The same is true in the average business enterprise, where a relatively small percentage of the individuals connected with the business are responsible for its successful operation. The others are there in body, but not in mind and spirit, and often they take out of the business more than they contribute to it. Oh my gosh, that reminds me of a joke that I heard while I was at JPL. It was I can't remember if I mentioned this before, and please don't quote me, but the joke went, "How many people work at JPL?" And the answer to the joke was, "Oh, about half." So anyway, that's the others are there in body, but not in mind and spirit, and often they take out of the business more than they contribute. Anyway, nature does not facilitate, nor does not change her plans, and in this respect, she sets a beautiful example for people to follow. The successful ones do follow the example, The failures do not. One of the impressive discoveries revealed to me during my contact with the successful men and women who helped me organize the science of success consisted of the fact that they moved with definiteness of purpose and never wavered, slowed down, or quit when the going got hard. There's that other half. They succeeded because they knew what they desired, laid plans for attaining it, and followed those plans until they were rewarded with success. Like the guys with the airbags, or the guys with any of the, oh my gosh, so many ideas from the teams working at the lab. I have thought often when observing successful people who stick to their purpose through failure after failure that infinite intelligence throws itself on the side of the person who will not quit when obstacles have to be surmounted. For somehow these people always triumph eventually, no matter how many handicaps they have to master. When I first heard that Thomas A. Edison had surmounted more than 10,000 failures before he found the secret of the incandescent electric lamp, I wondered how any human being could or would pay such a high price for victory. Later, after I became intimately acquainted with the Edison mind and the method with which he applied it to the solution of his problem, I discovered that it was the disciplinary effects of those 10,000 failures which made Edison the greatest inventor of all times. Edison must have recognized, as he met with one failure after another, that persistence would eventually bring him the secret that he was seeking. I am led to this conclusion because of my own experiences in time of failure, when I was searching for the causes of success and failure. For each failure with which I met had only the effect of making me more determined to keep on, press on, until I met with success. That small, still voice which speaks to one from within kept telling me not to quit when I was overtaken by defeat. If we could only experience for a single time the hurts of both the physical and mental pains felt by those who go through the period of struggle before they meet with victory in the upper brackets of human achievements, we would be utterly ashamed to admit the fear of so trivial an experience as that of dental or surgical operations. Oh my goodness. Well, I can't say I've experienced that because I've been one to accept the Novocaine and accept the painkillers. So let's take a look at another one of the quotes from Think and Grow Rich. And oh my goodness, this is true, true, true. If you've ever been in business for yourself, you know it to be an absolute fact. If you've ever set your mind on earning some extra money, you know this to be a fact. Here it is. Money is shy and elusive. It must be wooed and won by methods not unlike those used by a determined lover in pursuit of the girl of his choice. Oh my gosh, absolute. That is just a fact. Anywho, that's going to do it for today. Tomorrow we'll start in with chapter 9, the ninth miracle of life, how to transmute the creative force of sex. So that will be an excellent read. Can't wait. So until then, we will see you. And as I love to say, God bless you, God bless me, God bless us, everyone. Until then, my friends, bye bye.